Don't you think it's about time for a podcast that's more fulfilling? One that's about the vibrant exchange of ideas and perspectives that happens when we actually come together. We got you covered. Welcome to the DeepBlu Project, where the depths of conversation meet the waves of personal experience. This is a real, raw, and unscripted show about everything from leadership lessons to self-awareness, wellness, and the latest current events. We cover it all. We have a rotating cast of guests as we share our personal stories, insights, and opinions on the issues that matter most. Plus, we have a blast while doing it. The DeepBlu Project. It's not just a podcast, it's an experience. And now your host, Chris Workman.
All right, everybody, welcome to this episode of the DeepBlu Project. I'm going to call this our holiday episode. This is the first time we've done this, and so I have chose to bring my two homies, my two comrades here with us to kick this holiday edition off and be ready, because I don't know where this is going to go. So, Matt, Todd, welcome, guys. What's going on?
Oh, living the dream up here, Chris. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Chris, thanks for having me. There's snow on the ground in Colorado.
Oh, so you two got the snow. I ain't got squat. I got rain and wind. Crap.
I got wind.
I got to come visit you guys so I can get snow in my life.
I'd rather come visit you and get rid of the snow.
Yeah, Todd's got like 4 feet of snow.
Yeah.
I guess I'd believe the people that don't have the snow want the snow until they have it all the time. Like Todd, you got to be.
I'd like to never see it again, to be honest with
you. I want to hear about your trip through the snow back home.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. I mean, honestly, we spent. Well, first of all, happy Thanksgiving, happy belated Thanksgiving to you guys. I mean, I know we spoke, but I hope it was surrounded by family and loved ones. You both deserve that. We went to the Knoxville, Tennessee area to visit my wife's father. Ron, retired from Miami-Dade Police, good guy. They're always very gracious hosts, and there was no snow there, which was nice. And then we watched the storm come in, and I was hearing reports here about people being stuck. Matter of fact, one of the clerks that works for me was stuck in Erie, Pennsylvania in a Red Cross shelter with her husband and her 2 kids. So they'll have a story to tell. And he's also, the husband's a police officer. I think the next day he just realized, yeah, I'm just going to get on the thruway and drive and we'll get home. And he did. But we really didn't hit anything until we got to about Erie, Pennsylvania. So the first 10 hours of that drive was nothing. I worried that in the mountains in West Virginia we'd hit stuff, but it wasn't bad at all. But once we got closer, there was, the evidence of quite a big snowstorm, and the road was closed to commercial traffic. So it was a slow drive from Erie home, but it wasn't too bad. Buffalo, we always say it's Buffalo. We're used to it. Don't have to like it, but we're used to it. So,
yeah, I saw the pictures of a lot of people stuck, and don't you love that? I think we had them here a lot of times. We don't get as much in the Northeast anymore, but you get them people that say, "Stay home, don't go nowhere." Boom.
Yeah, the worst thing you can say, right? Like, we'll have a driving ban, and all of a sudden everyone's out to see how bad the roads are. Like, if we're telling you to stay off of them, it's probably for good reason. Stay home, and then they're stuck, and we have massive amounts of tractor trailers that get off the thruway here and they get stuck, and that becomes a huge problem. There's not a place to put them. We've got it down to a science, I think. The last couple of years, we've had these catastrophic snowstorms early in the season to where, we use whatever we can tool-wise. We have an MRAP that our SWAT guys go out and they'll use the winch to pull these trailers off the road. Everyone gets all upset when they see these big armored vehicles, but in a snowstorm, when it's moving cars out of the way and clearing up the roads, guys, I mean, they love it. So really we use it mostly for that stuff, and it's been a godsend. So
we have a snowcat and a snowmobile squad for our place. And
I would never be on the snowmobile squad. Like, that's cold, right?
It is.
I fantasize about being on the Marine unit in someplace very warm, and then they offer the snowmobile squad, and that's not for me. Spend enough time out in the weather that you don't need to be out anymore. It's not enjoyable.
Yeah, that's crazy. I remember going out when Matt was in the class, and I actually we had at the Fort, and we've talked about this before, at the Fort Collins, and like I had seen, we didn't have snow all year that year. Like here, we had nothing, and I'm there one night. I wake up in the morning, there's like 5 inches of snow on the ground. I walk downstairs, and the hotel person's like, "It'll be gone by 11." I'm like,
Yep.
by 11 o'clock, no shit. All the snow was gone.
That's how it usually is in Colorado. Don't tell anyone that, Chris, because that's why they keep moving here. I need them to stop moving here.
I think the funniest thing is they moved from Texas to Colorado. Like, that makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Well,
that is no sense.
That heat, right? The Texas heat is no joke. Like, they're trying to escape that heat.
Well,
I don't know.
I was trying to do that. I was trying to do flooring on 4th of July weekend down there, and I was sweating like crazy. And I had a fan going and everything, but it was like 104 outside.
Yeah, and
it's crazy.
I would take the heat. I'll sweat all day long. I love it. I have this incredible hatred for cold weather, but I live in Buffalo, so
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's like self-loathing for 7 months out of the year.
Well, I want to hear about Chris's trip to the football game.
Oh, that was so awesome. So, well, I've grown up around Philly all my life, so I've been dealing with Philly fans as a Philly fan since the vet days. It's not so bad in the Link nowadays. I mean, people make a big mess of it, but it's not as bad as the vet used to be. Because at the vet, you had all your blue collar workers, and the Link, you got some people with some money because it costs a lot more. But anyway, we went down there and actually had a pretty decent time. We got tied up with this group that had this great big tailgate, which was neat, and it was actually a combination of Eagles fans and Baltimore fans, and it actually was not bad. Like, everybody was real cordial, had a good time. I think the funniest thing was I was walking into the stadium, getting ready to go in, and there's these 3 guys standing on the corner outside the stadium, and they got a megaphone in their hand, and they're going, and as we approach them, they're like, "Boo." I turned around, looked at this dude, I'm like, "What? You have a megaphone in your hand. Can you do anything louder than that?" He's like, "Boo." I'm like, "Man, you wouldn't survive in Philly," and I kept on walking. So we get in the stadium, and actually that's the first time I was ever in M&T Bank. It wasn't too bad. It was cold, but there's no wind, so it wasn't too bad. And the stadium was nice. It was probably a decent amount of Eagles fans in there, but I had this lady behind me, dude. Like, in the first quarter, every time Baltimore scored, she screamed at the top of her lungs right behind me. I'm like, "Oh God, who put me in this chair?" So obviously she was. Oh, what's that?
How was the tailgate?
So the tailgate was great. I mean, they had a band there. They had axe throw. You know what cracks me up is, who was the smart person who put axe throwing with alcohol? Like why would you do that?
Did you ever do that though?
No, I have not.
It's a great way to get rid of all your frustrations. Like, my wife and I did it for the first time not too long ago, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is literally like cathartic." You know, all your anger, you just tossing an axe at a piece of wood. And there's booze there, and I'm thinking, at least there was a guy in the cage to make sure you weren't throwing it at people, right? Tailgate's probably a little different.
Yeah, don't turn around and throw it at somebody else. Well, we have a place, and it's weird, I've never been there, but we actually have an axe throwing place that's not far from my house, and it's called Stumpy's.
Yeah, good name.
Makes a lot of sense. Good name. Good name. Like, alcohol, axes. Yes.
The owner's missing a hand, or no?
Yeah. I'd like to go find out. Like, oh, so that's why it's Stumpy.
Yeah, Stumpy.
Were you holding an apple up?
Just put it on your head, Chris. I'll get it. No problem.
Yeah, I get it. Well, the game was great, though. I mean, it was good atmosphere. It was fun. Obviously, it wasn't so good in the first quarter for us, so the Baltimore fan behind me wouldn't shut up. But after halftime, she wasn't saying a word.
Yeah, that happens, right?
So I was like nice to her. I tried to give her pounds after the game and said, "Hey, better luck next time." She's like, "No," she wasn't having it.
I would like to go to a tailgate at a different stadium. You know, I think there's a whole culture to that I think is like kind of unique to each stadium.
Oh yeah.
And I think it'd be cool. I've only
Well, you got Bills Nation. They jump off. What did you send me that they
yeah
jump off freaking
they
snow
find the
piles
biggest
onto a
snowbank they
flaming
find.
table.
Yeah, yeah. Bills Mafia, they're crazy. They're good people, but they like their football, and it's crazy here. I mean, I do not miss the years that I worked on Sunday and driving through the lots, and you just see some insane, like it's like going to the weirdest circus on earth, and driving through the lots and people cooking pizzas in a filing cabinet and making steaks on an old Pinto. I mean, it's insane. I mean, if you've
Oh,
never
that's
seen it,
awesome.
you got to look at
Well,
Pinto Ron. I mean, the
for
guy
everybody out
literally
there
cooked.
listening, you have three fans of like three thriving NFL teams right now sitting here chatting. So we
Yeah,
got
one of
myself
us is going to be in the Super Bowl.
so we got myself who's actually obviously the Philly guy. We got Todd, who you know now from the conversation is the Bills. So where is Matt? From
I'm
Colorado.
Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions, my friend.
That makes so much sense, right?
It does.
Matt from Colorado loves Detroit.
Well, I'm a Detroit fan because that's where I went to my very first NFL game, and I ran into Barry Sanders in a Kroger grocery store
Oh,
when
Ah,
I was living there.
that's a great story.
that is a
So
good
he was very nice to myself and my mother, and he like talked with us for a few minutes, and he was a super nice guy.
Great running
awesome.
back. Great running
Yeah,
back.
very good running back.
Yeah.
Enjoyed
Yeah.
watching him.
Didn't play long enough.
He did not play long enough.
No, but he was amazing. He was.
Thurman
Well,
Thomas' teammate in college,
Yeah. Oklahoma, right?
Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State, right? Yeah.
Well, the shame for Barry was that was all Detroit had when he was there.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Like unbelievable, really. He was their lone weapon.
Right.
And he was amazing. I remember as a kid watching him.
But it's interesting. So we always have these conversations like offline. We text each other back and forth. So you're getting a little piece of what we do just constantly, like week in and week out mostly. But just on a text message.
Who would say the leadership conversation revolves around football, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to start somewhere. It's a commonality. So
we're just warming people up. Like the people that wanted to hear about leadership, they've already tuned out of the podcast.
Yeah, they're like, what the hell?
It's fine.
Tell me about this.
Sometimes you got to give the people something else. So
I would suggest that Chris, you get a helmet somewhere on your desk in your background, because Todd and I both have a helmet in our backgrounds.
Yeah,
but you don't.
I wish I could flip my camera around. I got all sorts of stuff in here.
Oh yeah, I'll go grab my motorcycle helmet and throw it there.
Yeah.
You should put it on.
It looks like I got one on.
Yeah.
So we're out here today. We decided we would get together and just do what we're doing. People just have a conversation. The easiest way to put it is, I know we're a little off the rails, but this is one of those things where I look at it as this is what we do. And even though we talk about leadership and it starts with interactions. It starts with these communications. It starts with this friendship, because three guys from totally different areas have just, and when I say we talk about everything, we talk about everything. And you would never know how that got together. But that's kind of what, I don't say we promote necessarily, but that's our thing about networking and the part that we do and what we kind of preach into the things of how we all got together. It's having that networking portion. And that's a great part of that leadership journey and also that wellness journey, because you need to make connections with people. Having connections with people is how we thrive as human beings. Doesn't matter if it's your relationships in your home, doesn't matter if, your relationships with your kids, but you also need to have those relationships with people outside. And that's kind of what this is. And that's why I've brought this together for everybody today.
I think the health thing, a lot of our conversations don't revolve around work, right? I mean, you and Matt were friends, and then Matt was gracious enough to bring me into a conversation, and we just kind of hit it off. And I think that no matter where you are, you're kind of all in similar circumstances. We're all going through life, right? And it's not just work that causes problems sometimes, or causes you to have to make a decision or change your course and pivot your course. So having people in your network that you can bounce that off of is greatly beneficial. I mean, I know that Matt and I talk, and sometimes we'll talk about leadership, and sometimes we'll talk about just off the wall, crazy stuff. He's sitting in Dallas Fort Worth Airport, and we're texting back and forth, right? Like,
Yeah.
These are things that are important, just to have people that you can bounce stuff off of in life.
I think a lot of times I know for me, I have, I've sort of not embraced that networking as much as I should over some of the years, and that caused some of the toxicity that I was dealing with. But like this year on Thanksgiving, I'm sitting there on Thanksgiving morning, and I've got like a list of like 50 people on my phone that I've got to wish Happy Thanksgiving to.
Absolutely.
And I sat and I told somebody else, I'm like, man, how much that's a big difference from this time last year when I had texted like 10 people Happy Thanksgiving, because my circle got a lot bigger.
Sure.
And, I'm not looking for people. I'm not looking for validation for people, but I am gaining those relationships. And, Todd, you're one of those people that we gained over, Chris and I gained over this year. And, this time next year, who knows how many people will be on this podcast.
We might have four.
Yeah, we could do 4, 5, 6. We might have the whole AFC covered or NFC North covered. You never know.
In the NFC West, right?
Yeah, but I think that's the super important thing. And like next week on Tuesday, I'm getting to meet one of my friends I've only met with online, and he was part of one of my book clubs. We're going to be in Phoenix at the same time, so we're going to get together and meet in person. And I've got to do that a bunch of times. I got to come see Chris this year when I was out there. So I got to get to Buffalo here soon when you get back from NA. But I'm just super excited about what 2025 is going to look like, because 2024 has been very unexpected.
Yeah.
I think I'm speaking for Chris too. I think it's been very unexpected about what we've been able to do and build ourselves up and be better human beings.
I think a lot of us, kind of took a great leap forward in 24, and it's definitely something to be thankful for. And I'm looking forward to 25. I mean, there's a lot that's happening next year, and a lot for all three of us. And I think that 24 was good, and hopefully 25 is better.
Yeah, I echo so much what Matt's saying. If we look back, and we look back to this last year and the way it started, and to kind of where we're at now, from July on, when we started this, when we started DeepBlu Project, when we started getting into really ramping up the things that we were doing, it's grown so big so fast. And what I mean by growing so big, because everybody wants me to quantify it, right? I get asked so many times, well, how many people listening? You know what? I don't know. I don't go back and check all that. I you know what? If it's one, great. If it's 100, great. It's not about that. I said, but the connections and having the opportunities to talk with all these different people and get these different perspectives and learn all the things they've been doing. Man, I was talking about this with Jason Palomera the other day when I had him on, which will be coming out soon. Which you'll probably have already heard this before you hear this, but anyway. But I had mentioned that to him, going, the people that I have just met that are just genuinely nice, great people who just want to tell their story, help others, and just be authentically genuine no matter what they say to you.
Yeah.
And you don't believe there's that many people out there until you start bringing them in and embracing them. That includes you two for me.
Absolutely.
That includes you two for me.
I think Matt and I talked about something similar, where there's a lot of like-minded people that just have their story to tell. And it's interesting, and it's good to be around people that share the same passion that we do. And not all of them have to be these big name people. I think that's what the misconception is. There's only 4 or 5 people that know everything. And realistically, there's a lot of good leaders out there that are good people that have a lot inside that they're trying to get out. And I think for a lot of them, myself included, Matt and I talked about it, it's almost like nobody's paying attention because we're not these big name people. But that's okay. If you get through to one person, If one person's listening right now and they take something from our crazy talk, then awesome. One person at a time, I'll take it. You don't have to be one of the big name law enforcement executives to get your story out and to understand that, hey, we're here to help people. We've been through a lot. A lot of us, all three of us have been through a lot, and we're pretty open about it. And I think that if somebody wants to reach out and have a discussion about what they're going through, if we can help them, I think that's what this is all about.
I totally agree. With just one person at a time.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people ask, how did you do this? How did you do that? And one of my proudest moments was yesterday. I'm in the break room at work and I sort of walk in on a conversation and they look at me and go, LT, 2 + 2 does equals 4, but you can get it there many different ways. And I'm like, you sure can. And I'm like, that was a big thing. Like I could care less if I've got 20,000 followers or 2 followers. I know that one person, understands what I'm trying to put forward in just understanding there's many ways to get to that final equation. And in law enforcement, we just had a real hard time embracing that. So to have one employee say that and then look at me and say, isn't that what you say? That's a huge thumbs up. Like I have a huge win for the year right there.
Yeah, and we talk about how there are the naysayers that they don't understand what it is we're talking about. I think so they react negatively to it, and I really think that that's just a symptom of sometimes some people can be closed-minded to receiving help, right? Receiving constructive criticism, receiving information, and I always look at it as everybody I meet and talk to, I can learn something from. And I don't judge them. So when somebody acts negatively towards me, Matt, you and I talked about it, and it bounces right off I've got to the point where it just bounces right off of my thick skin, and I go right to the next person that maybe I can help, or maybe I can offer them something based on the experience that I've had. And if you don't want to be part of that, that's a personal choice. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's the thing that I've had to start learning, because some people that really love Chris really dislike me, like don't think that my messaging is very good. Like that's just one of those things. It's like I already have one bald-headed guy in my life. I don't need another one. But I think that voices resonating. There needs to be more voices out there just talking about it, and then give somebody a pick if they want to. If they want to be a part of your journey, let them be part of their journey. If they don't, that's great. Like I just hope they find somebody that can help them along in their leadership journey or their life journey.
Right.
Cleaning out their mental closet, whatever it is.
Well, I think that's a lot of it, right? I think that people don't do a good job of cleaning out that mental closet, and I know Chris talks about it all the time. And I think that in this profession in general, we retain a lot of bad stuff and don't know how to get rid of it. Until you actually learn how to get rid of it, your life is really not being what it could be until you learn how to deal with it.
Well, the easiest thing I think we talk about is it's got to be variety.
Right.
Not every one thing is going to work for everybody. There has to be something. Everybody has to find what their niche is or what's going to help them be able to do that. Like I can't walk to somebody, and I think the first thing that we tell people, and I know that Matt does this and what he does, and I know you do it, Todd, and you tell people like I don't have all the answers. I only have what I know that worked for me, or the steps that I went through to find what worked for me. So if something's not working for you, please, I mean, if it's not my voice, go talk to Matt. If it's not Matt's voice, go talk to Todd. If it's not any of the three of us, go find someone else, but don't stop. Like don't quit until you find what works for you, because all of those things that we build up, you got to get rid of them sometime.
Yep.
So until you find somebody you're comfortable with to do that, or to even start that process, it's just going to sit there. And that's the kind of thing that I think try to say. I've been very lucky. I mean, since 2021 and meeting Matt and the connection that we made way back then, I mean, here we are. We're coming up on a new year of 2025, and him and I are closer than probably anybody that I've ever been friends with in my life. So I know that I can call him and talk to him about anything that I want to talk to him about, and he's not going to judge me. He's got enough to tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm thinking the wrong way. And then here we are about halfway through the year, and then through this connection, I meet Todd and we have that connection. And I know now that I can do that with you. And that's just another person,
Yeah.
and you can do that with me. So here's a group of 3 individuals from 3 different places who are able to find that connection. So you can find the connection. You just have to be willing to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it starts. And you have to be willing to do it every day.
I think that we have this shared passion for helping people, and I think that the commonality we have, where we've all been through something, albeit different things, we've all been through something and learned from it. And I guess my hope is that maybe the next person doesn't have to go through it. They learn how to do this stuff, how to deal with stuff ahead of time, so that they're not really in that place that's dark and detrimental to their career or their family life. Even more importantly, I think that those are important things. And like you said, as a leader and as a person, sometimes you have to say I don't know, and it's okay to say I don't know, and you can learn together. But I think one of the biggest things that bad leaders do is give you false information or ignore their subordinates when they have valid points and constructive information. I think that two-way conversation, just like we're having right now, three-way conversation is important. And if you don't know something, if you don't have the answer, have a network that you can reach out to and say, hey, listen, I have somebody that's going through this. Have you ever been through that? Or do you know somebody that has, somebody I can talk to? But don't give them false information. Say, hey, I don't know what it's like to be going through that, but I'll certainly help you find somebody you can talk to.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I think you're right on it, Todd. Just somebody saying, they can just be there and say, this sucks.
Yeah.
And when you're saying that, it makes me think about Dare to Lead by Brene Brown, and where she's talking about the story in there about her missing her daughter's last lacrosse game or field hockey game or something like that, soccer game, something like that. And the travel mate she's with, she just puts her hand on her shoulder and says, this really sucks, Brene. We're not going to make it home for that game. And I think that's more where people, who your friends are, and people that really care for you, if they're just willing to say, I can't fix this situation. I can't get us home any sooner,
Right.
but I can be here and say, this sucks.
I mean, you don't have to.
And I will tell you, I think more of our times of Chris and I building our relationship has been more of that, of this sort of sucks. And this sucks, and you probably need to hear this.
I think people don't talk about that enough, that it's not about having the answer. It's about being supportive, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can get to the answer together, or we can find the solution to whatever you're going through, but you're not going to do that without being supportive of another person. And that support sometimes is enough just to get somebody through to the next part, right? Just to give them the comfort that they need to get through what they're going through right at that moment. And then you can work on everything else. But the support that you're talking about, just putting your hand on someone's shoulder and say, hey, listen, I'm here for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's all we're trying to do as people. We might be in different parts of the country. We might be talking to 1 or 100 people. We don't know right now, but we're just putting our hand on their shoulder and saying, hey, listen, we're here for you. We certainly are willing to listen. And I know I am, and I know you guys are willing to connect with anybody and listen to anybody if you're going to be able to give them some support. And I think that's super important.
Well, you're going to have tough times. I mean, tough times are going to come with no matter what you do. And I hope Matt doesn't mind me saying this, but he's trying to build this true bold. He's put a lot of work into that.
Sure.
It's something that he does well, and he's working very hard at it. And we try to do our things that we're doing, but it's not always going to be like what we want it. We think we want it to be. Sometimes we're going to have to take that moment to sit back and just kind of let the meat marinate. I guess that's the easiest way to say it. They're going to find you when they need what works for them. I think that's where I get to saying to you guys, we found that with this 3 people, like
Sure.
people are going to find that. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
going to happen. And sometimes I think we all, through our own feelings and our wanting to be, I don't want to say successful. I don't think that's the right word for it. I mean, I think we want to be able to help others, and I think that's what we strive to do, and we want to try to quantify that. Todd said something to me a couple of days ago when we were talking about something. It's, you may not know what's going on, but people are watching and people are listening. And while you may not be seeing it right now, why Matt might not be seeing it right now, why I might not be seeing, there's people out there who are definitely know who Matt Davis is. There's definitely people out there who know Todd Ehret is. Like, they know who you are. They know what you're doing. It just not might be as apparent to you as it is to me, because I know who's saying their names because I say them all the time, and they go, "Yeah, I know that guy."
Right. You talked about the connective network, right? You talked to Mike Slocum, right? And that's just just going to a Alita class that he hosted. It wasn't even in the class. And I have immense respect for him and the things he's doing in Paynesville, Ohio. But that network, like you said, people are paying attention, right? You can say, "Hey, I know so-and-so," and somebody is going to say, "Oh yeah, I connected with that guy. I had a conversation with that guy," and come away from it and be like, that was productive. And we're three guys, and that's really all we are, right?
Right.
And I think that there's importance in having those connections. Just somebody, like you said, you can bounce something off of, and it's just not work. Sometimes, more often than not, it's life.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, work just gets in the way of life sometimes, but I know I can come home from work frustrated. That's work. It's when you can't get rid of that and it's carrying over into your life that is the problem. And that's, life can be difficult, like you said. And if you can't find a way to kind of deal with the situation in a healthy manner, because, we all know cops have historically done this unhealthy way of dealing with stress and trauma, and we all have been there. But we're here to tell you that maybe there's a better way to do that, and connect with people, have that human interaction, have people that are willing to listen to you. I mean, I will sit on the phone with anybody or talk to them online with anybody and listen to what they're going through. And I might not be able to help you, but I will certainly offer that support. And I know that you guys will as well. And that's maybe what this is all kind of turning into, is we're here for people, the same way that, Matt's been there for me. Chris has been there for me. And I'm at a point in my life where my career's went pretty well. I'm pretty satisfied with where I am. It's really not about being successful to me anymore. It's about helping people. And I say that with the utmost sincerity. And people will say, "Oh, you want this, you want that." Well, I always want to better myself, right? I wanted to go back and get a master's degree. I wanted to go to the National Academy. So that's about to become a better leader overall, or a more educated person. But the person that I am as Todd, I think I'm pretty happy with that. And that takes a lot of work to get to where it's not about success anymore. It's about helping. And I think that that's what we all three have in common, is we're really intent on helping other people. And I think that that's kind of what binds us together. And the base of what we are as three people, we all have that in common. And hopefully what people get out of this is that, hey, we found each other in all different manners, and we are in contact constantly. But everybody else can do the same thing. And certainly I think we're all willing to listen to anybody.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, Todd, about getting forward on your education. Everyone on this call, I know all you guys have worked very hard. Like, I see Chris's diploma on his wall, and like, that's the one thing I'm super excited about in 2025 is this time next year, that empty spot is going to have a big old degree in it.
Amen,
And
brother.
I think there are a lot more people as first responders that get into it because it's a calling, right?
Right.
And education, you can, nowhere in my life did I think I could have the type of career that I've had without having a college degree.
Right.
Well, that's going to change now because I'm doing that for me.
That's awesome.
And so I'm not doing it because of rank, because that hasn't hurt me gaining rank. Right. Would it have helped me? Maybe. Yeah, it probably could have helped me a little bit more. But, that's something we're out there, we're constantly learning. And that's like reading books. The other day, I just decided to sit down and count the number of books I read this year, and it's been surprising. I probably have never read that many books in my entire adult life.
Right.
But I just keep getting more and more information through those books. And me being a storyteller, I like to retell the stories I read about. And I think a lot of people are not taking the time to sit down and actually read and encourage themselves by someone else's words. And we would rather watch it on video, which I'm that kind of learner as well. But just sitting down, being quiet, like that book you and I are reading, Todd,
Yeah.
about Gen Z
Yeah.
law enforcement officers. That's huge.
It is. And it's, like I said, I've used them before for textbook teaching. And I guess maybe being uninformed in that way, when you brought it up, they have other books that are not just a textbook. And now, granted, you could use that for a textbook, but wow, there's a lot of lessons in there. And we talked about education. For me, I think going back for an advanced degree, what it did, I'm not any smarter than I was 2 years ago. I mean, you're not going to go into it and be like, oh, I'm so much smarter with a master's degree. What it did for me was I'm able to look at things more critically. I'm able to analyze things. I understand people better, right? Because a lot of what they're talking about, at least in my program, was the difference in generations that are in law enforcement right now and how to understand them. I know when I started, we were going to be the downfall of American policing, right? Gen X. We're like the worst, right? And what happened? Now we're saying, this millennials or Gen Z are the worst, right? They're probably not going to ruin policing. And there's probably somewhere in that mix, there's traits to be learned on both sides. Understanding your people instead of just saying, they don't know what they're talking about, they're brand new, right? I don't care if you're day one or day 1001. If you have something valid and constructive to offer, I think it's important that we listen. And that's kind of what I got from my master's program, was being more able to analyze things, to understand concepts, and really, besides being a super research nerd, which I read research briefs all the time now, I thought that would stop after graduating, and I guess I like it. I don't know, who would have thought, right? But certainly I'm able to look at people individually and say, okay, they probably have something to offer here, and it's important that we listen. And I think that that's lost a lot of times, especially in the upper levels of policing. You think you know everything, and you probably don't.
I think you become a knowledge junkie once you start doing that. Because you figure that when you can look at things in that way, and I was the same way. Like I graduated high school. I didn't get my associate's degree till I was already a chief. I didn't get my bachelor's till I was already a chief. And people say, "Well, why are you doing that? You're already a chief." I'm not doing it I'm doing it for me.
Right.
I mean, there's nothing, and I think I want to go back to something that Todd started to say. Like, yeah, we want to help others, but there's still nothing wrong for doing things for you. Like, you need to do things for you first before you could do them for anybody else. And the hardest part about this career, when we all got into it, and I'm going to get into, the millennials and what's coming in now, but you can't blame them, and I'll get to that because they're our kids. Like, we can't blame them. So, but we're doing that ourselves. Like, we're trying to do this now and get people to understand, like, you need to start thinking about yourself, because we put so much into this career. We've lost relationships. We've lost parts of our lives. We've lost parts of our kids' lives because we were so dedicated to this job.
Right.
And I'm not going to say that it wasn't rewarding. I love my job. I love my job every day. I would not go back and change anything. But what I would change is taking care of myself and my family as part of that, and not putting it all into the career. Because I think that if I'd have done that, it would have been a lot more of a successful and more fulfilling career.
Sure.
Earlier than it is now.
Right. But we have people that then will put them down or dismiss them because they're intent on doing that from the beginning, right? It took us 15 or 16 years to get to the point where we realized, hey, we need to make a change. But they come in knowing that, hey, I want to do this job, and they want to do it for the same reasons, but they want to take care of themselves and their family, make sure they're healthy at home. And for some reason, there's this attitude that, well, those guys don't want to work. I get that because we're not used to that, right? I mean, like Chris and I had talked, the phone rang for overtime. I was always answering, right? But at what cost? Can you still do this job effectively and help people and do all that and not be so dedicated or enslaved to the job that you really lose track of everything else. And I think that you can, and I think, like you said, there are kids and they saw us work like that and they don't want to do it. And they're probably going to be healthier for it. Only time will tell. But I think that there's ownership there on our part to say, we did this and we were, although, we got through it, at least the three of us did, and we were successful at it. But we all will sit here and tell you that we lost a lot. And I don't regret it. I would have done things a little differently. I could have lived without working that extra shift. I could have taken a day off. I'm very honest about, I went 10 years with no vacation. I just thought that I couldn't not work. And that's extremely unhealthy. And I think that this generation's better at that. And it's okay to recognize that and say, yeah, you guys are better at making sure that you're healthy mentally coming to work and that you have happy families at home where your kids get as much time as they possibly can, because they're still going to lose time on this job. But, they're at home, their family lives are healthier. Because let's be honest, like most of ours weren't for a long time. And at what cost? Chris, you said at what cost? That's the cost, right?
It's the cost.
It is.
My monthly bank statement will show the cost, because you end up paying that alimony, maintenance, whatever it is, from that standpoint. But you bring up a good point. Like all three of us have worked special assignments where we were tied to our phone for many years, and I've been recently thinking about that, and I'm so glad that I'm not tied to my work phone any longer. Like I'm going on vacation on Saturday, and I don't have to take my work computer with me when I'm gone for those 8 days. I just don't have. I mean,
I'm jealous.
Can't get it. First of all,
I need your vacation back, dude, because you're all. Yeah. People say I'm all over the place, dude. Yeah, you are all over the place.
Across the country again, right?
Like, I'm going to Arizona this time, but
at some airport all the time, right?
I am at some airport all the time.
At home, getting ready to go to work the next day, and Matt's in an airport.
Yeah, that's what you do when you work Sunday through Wednesday, and 2 of your Wednesdays a month or holiday. You can take off.
Yeah.
Wow. So you can get that. I love flying on Saturdays, by the way. Anybody listening to the podcast needs to start flying on Saturday nights, because it's like a party.
We always fly back from vacation on Saturday. It's a much better flight.
It's much better.
I'm still convinced that you're some sort of traveling salesman that Chris and I don't know about.
Oh God. Well, I'm not making enough money to be a traveling salesman. Trust me.
He got something going on. I don't know. I think this True Bowl is doing a lot better than he said.
No, I wish that was the truth. I wish that was the truth, Chris.
So I got to share this with the audience, because I think this is funny, and I cracked up the other day because I wake up. So we're having this conversation, the three of us, and I'm not going to get into the conversation because it could be anything, but we start this conversation between the three of us, and I'm like, we get into late at night, and I go to sleep. So I wake up the next morning, and there's like 30 more messages that these two were going at it, and I'm like, wow, man, I like totally lost the whole night. I had to catch up and answer in the morning.
Well, when you work swing shift for most of your career, my day starts at like I'm getting up early these days with my alarm at 7:45 in the morning, and that might as well be 5 a.m. for me, because that's really early, because I hate working day shift. When I worked investigations, I hated working day shift because I had to be in the office at 6 a.m. That's for the birds. I don't want to work that early.
I'm still a night owl. Like, even though obviously I work days now. Like, my wife will go to bed, and I'm up watching TV. I've never adjusted to going to bed early, and I still I get up for work. I like to sleep, right? So I get up for work at like 7:15ish, and I hate it every morning. And I'm like, I go back to nights where I could sleep, and you didn't have to have an alarm clock. But then I realized how unhealthy I was during my 10 years of night shifts. But yeah, so we have a conversation in the middle of the night. We have that in common. Matt and I can probably text at all different hours. Although he's on that different time zone, so sometimes I am sleeping, and my phone will be like, bing. And
maybe I should change my 30-minute meetings I offer to people. Maybe I should change that to like starting at 10 o'clock at night and just see if they can fill up till midnight. I might get some more night owl clients that way.
Trust me, there's a lot of people at night that could use your advice.
Yeah, get them insomniacs.
Yeah.
I could just flip my thing. I could be the nighttime leadership guy.
It's like I'm getting older. My ass is in bed at like 9:30.
I will tell you, Chris, it does seem like over the last few years, that time that I can call you has been getting earlier, late.
It's
It's
all
like
that cheap stress.
because
Right?
he's doing the early bird special. He's getting ready to move to Florida, when he retires. So he's getting ready to what was that place on Seinfeld where his parents lived?
Oh God.
Boca something.
Something Boca del Vista or something
Yeah,
like that, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Chris is getting ready for that.
we'll be having the 3
Yeah,
o'clock dinner.
North Carolina's about as low as I'm going. I couldn't deal with the heat in Florida constantly.
Yeah, he'll be having the 3 o'clock dinner. Don't worry.
Just some place where I can play golf.
You can play golf in Buffalo like 4 months out of the year.
You can't even use orange balls in Buffalo because it snows. There's too much snow.
I mean, literally, there was summers where I would play 120, 130 rounds of golf when I worked nights. I would get up at noon, play 9 holes, go back, take a nap, and then go to work. And I did that like for 14, 15 days in a row. I got my handicap way down there.
I bet.
And then what I found is I went and played Top Golf over this last weekend in Knoxville.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm good at hitting the targets. And I'm like, oh, this would be easy. Then they put up the Angry Birds game on Top Golf, and you don't really have to be a golfer, right? So my wife who hits the ball, okay, and my mother-in-law who's hitting the ball along the ground are knocking over the buildings, and I'm shooting the ball over the buildings, and I'm losing, right?
Yeah.
It's a big ego deflator.
Yeah. Well, that's not really golf. That's just bowling alley with golf.
A lot of fun, though. A lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Well, maybe that should be on the DeepBlu projects list for 2025. That there's a DeepBlu project golf tournament, golf outing.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me something else to do.
I think Chris is like the he's going to be the ringer though. Like, oh, I got to move there to play golf. He's the chief. He's probably playing like 5 times a week, right?
Right.
He's still in recovery mode from his surgery. He's not quite back to 100%.
Driving the ball 300 yards down the course.
As I was out stopping cars today. Yup.
Yeah, right.
The chief.
You look cold though. You had the hat on and all that stuff.
Well, it was cold.
Well,
It wasn't snow. It wasn't snow cold, but it was cold.
We should get a few foursomes together for DeepBlu between DeepBlu and Truebold and do the Delaware Chiefs Association golf tournament again next year.
We can do that. There's enough around here. You can just guys come up. We can again. Well, that's something we'll have to do when we go visit Todd after he gets out of the NA. We'll have to.
Yes.
Because I can drive there. I'll put the clubs in the car and take them with me.
Yeah.
Matt will be in some airport ambassador lounge somewhere with this club, probably.
with frequent flyer points.
Yeah, gold card.
I used up the rest of my frequent flyer points yesterday when I bought my tickets for New Year's. So I'm in 0 points on my Southwest right now, unfortunately.
Jeez, I don't know what you're going to do.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I would tell everybody not to fly Frontier. That would be my advertisement. The Fight Club of the Skies, just stay off of it.
Hopefully your carry-on fits in that little thing they put it in. Otherwise, you're in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
The employees get paid $10 every time they bust somebody out of the line.
Oh, yeah. That thing seems to get smaller and smaller every time you walk up to it.
Motivational approach.
It's like that big. I'm going to bring my oversized wallet.
It's basically a clutch purse, right, that you can put in there. Yeah. That's about it.
My crossbody.
Listen, I can appreciate that because when I fly, I hate the person that gets on that has like the carry-on with like 4 bags strapped on top of it.
Oh, yeah.
And, being a very detail-oriented person, I'm always pointing out, honey, that shouldn't be allowed. That shouldn't be allowed on the plane, right? Whatever. What happened here?
You shut yourself off.
Probably.
Yeah. So you don't talk about your wife. She shuts that stuff off now. It's done. Your interview is done.
She hit the stop button.
Correct.
Yeah. Let's try that.
I can't see you, but we can hear you still.
We can hear you.
Well, I think people that I appreciate you guys, man, more than you can say. I am so happy that you joined me for this. I think we're going to call this the holiday edition.
I disappeared. You guys cut me off, right? Blacked me
I can
out.
still hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, you still want to see me, right? Because I'm not bald with glasses.
Your voice, your whole thing went away. What's going on with your camera, dude? I can't even bring you back.
I don't know. I am a lot of things. I'm not, tech savvy guy.
Technically,
Yeah.
technologically savvy.
Maybe the town's streaming service just cut you off. Oh, now he's completely gone.
Yeah, we'll give him a minute to see if he
All
pops
right,
back
cool.
in. Oh,
He'll be
goodness.
back.
So, what do you think tonight's going to be? I know everybody's going to hear this afterwards, but we're taping this or recording this on a Thursday when the Detroit Lions are going to be facing the Packers tonight. So,
I'm all in on the Detroit Lions. We're gonna do it.
welcome back. Are you there?
He might be. I think the town forgot their internet to pay their internet. He might be coming back.
Yeah, I can see things popping, but it's not happening. We
Uh,
lost him.
Oh, I heard him for a second.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can hear you. We just can't see you, but I can hear you.
I hear all the stuff about not paying for the internet, and the true fact is that I don't think the building I'm in actually has Wi-Fi. So we're hardline here, because of the it could be the weather, to be honest with you. I have short sleeves on, and I'm sitting in a warm office, dreading going outside. So,
how far do you got to go to home?
oh, it's like 4 or 5 minutes.
Oh God, that'd be bad.
Yeah,
You're gonna get cold and be right back out and be cold again, and then you'll be in your nice toasty warm house.
Yeah.
Can you get your lieutenant to go out and start your car before you leave?
Yeah, they'll laugh at me. They'll laugh at me. Yeah, sure, boss.
So I was trying to get when we lost you. I was trying to get Matt to give his prediction, and I kind of caveated to everybody that this is the Thursday that the Lions are playing the Packers. So Matt's got to give us his prediction for tonight.
My prediction is we will win by 3 points.
There you go. Okay.
Hopefully they don't know how to manage their timeouts like Chicago.
That's like that's the game, right? Like Detroit, Green Bay, like that's the game.
Yeah, we wrap up the North Division tonight. I think if we win with a win, I think we wrap it up.
Oh yeah, I wasn't going
to say
we did that last week.
Loss. I need him to get that extra loss for me. Somebody got to get lost somewhere.
Todd and I are hoping, Chris, that it's a Buffalo Bills Detroit Lions Super Bowl. So we know someone that's never won is going
to win, right? What a great Super Bowl that would be, though.
Yeah,
as long as all my guys know where their helmet is, right? Yeah, it'll be fine.
Well, you haven't lost a game in New Orleans, have you? Have the Bills ever lost in New Orleans?
I don't think so. I would just be happy. I think both those teams deserve a Super Bowl. Both those cities deserve a Super Bowl. So even though we'll probably lose, because that's what we do in Super Bowls, I would be very happy, that it was Detroit. If it was not us, I would prefer it to be Detroit. So,
I always thought that like for a long time, our three teams were the long-suffering, non-Super Bowl winning teams. We finally broke through 7 years ago. However, we've been there a lot also. But I agree with you. As a football person, I mean, I like my team, like you guys like your team. But as a football person, I'd love to see people play that haven't won. Give everybody a shot. I think Buffalo and Detroit would be a good one. I really do.
Oh, it'd be a great Super Bowl.
I'm not going to say I don't want my team in it. I'm just saying it would be a good Super Bowl.
Yeah.
All righty. So I'm going to give you guys an opportunity. Todd, if you want to go first, say, this is going to be our kind of end of year. So whatever you want to say to the peeps out there as we wrap up today.
Just again, to you, first off, and to you and Matt, I'm thankful that both of you are in my life. It's been a good year. And I've come to respect both of you immensely, and I mean that in the truest sense. And for anybody listening, this all started from a connection, right? We just decided to have a conversation, and that's probably the most important thing you can do as a person is to connect with other people. And like I said, I'm thankful. I'm thankful to have people in my life that take the time to listen and take the time to better themselves, and when they need help, they're not afraid to reach out. I'm certainly here for not only you two, for anybody listening. You can find me easily on LinkedIn. I think that when we talk, we truly mean what we say. And I think that, to be honest with you, this is a journey, and I'm just happy to be part of the journey. And I would encourage anybody to reach out and connect with any of us, or anybody else for that matter. Keep on going. Hopefully 2025 is even better, bigger and better things. And most of all, like I said, I'm just thankful that I'm here with you guys right now.
Matt, you?
Yeah, I'd like to echo a lot of things Todd said, but happy holidays to all the listeners out there. And I'm just just really taken back about the great people that I've been able to meet over the years. And both of you guys, we're collaborating in a lot of different things, the three of us. And I just want to thank you for you're willing to be a sounding board for me and just be my friend, and that each of you have the courage to, find your inner boldness and do the things that you guys are each doing. I'm so proud of each one of you for out there, what you're doing. And Chris, with your book, big deal, dude, like great job. Big deal. Todd, you going to NA next year, that's a big deal. Like that's just big events, big life events. So, to the listeners out there, find somebody, like have the courage to build some relationships. And if it's one of us that you guys need to reach out to, I'm out there on LinkedIn. Please join the community out there. There will be other events that are going to be putting on. Chris has his book out there. Todd's got multiple articles. I've got articles out there and some workbooks. We would love for you to use some of our resources, because we're just trying to share a little bit of our knowledge. And like Chris said before, we don't have all the answers, but we do have the time to listen as our schedules allow. And we just really enjoy networking with other people out there. They're trying to find their inner boldness and be that person they always wanted to be, because that's what we're trying to do now.
Thanks, buddies. Guys, I have no words. For those who know me, who know the things that this year has brought for me, I am truly thankful, and I am truly blessed to have the people in my life that I have in my life right now, and especially these two gentlemen. It's been a road, and as these guys have mentioned, it's a journey. It's an every single day process to try to be the best person that you can be each and every day, and take care of yourself and take care of those who are close to you. Everything else will work out after that, and I think we need to believe that. That's something that I don't think that anybody taught us when we started this career. This is a great career, and you have to be patient, but you also have to take care of yourself. And that is the main thing that I want to see. Going forward, these two gentlemen, you're going to hear a lot from them, because I'm kind of sprung it on them today, but these guys are going to be the other part, and the other DeepBlu project hosts with me. And if it works out, I think you're going to get a lot more out of that than just my voice, because I think they bring a lot to the table. And there's going to be times that I can't, and they may be the one doing it with someone else. So that's where we're going to build DeepBlu into. This is going to expand into something that works for everybody, and it gives everybody a voice. And I am so thankful for these gentlemen to be on that. So I wish you all a Merry Christmas. I wish you a Happy New Year. And I wish and hope that you come and listen to us in 2025, because it's going to be a banger, baby. We're going to have a good 2025 between DeepBlu and True Bold, with myself, Matt, and Todd. We're going to be ready for you. So take care, all. We'll see you on the next one. See you guys.
All right.
See ya,
Chris. See you, Matt.
You've been listening to the DeepBlu Project. As a father, husband, friend, and someone who loves to chat about anything and everything, Chris brings over 3 decades of public service experience to the table. With a background in firefighting and law enforcement, along with degrees in criminal justice and behavioral science, he's seen it all, and he's learned a thing or two along the way. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on LinkedIn and X at DeepBlu Project. Find our website at deepblueproject.com, and to reach out, send an email to deepblueproject@outlook.com. Keep keeping it real, and we'll see you next time on the Deep Blue Project.